Did you know Conqueror's Haki has 5 different abilities so far? Haki is one of the most broken abilities throughout all of anime, and in the world of One Piece, it allows people to do things such as see into the future to predict their opponent's next move, cover its user in invisible armor, and even attack their opponent from the inside out. But only those chosen by the heavens with kingly ambitions can use the super rare third Haki ability known as Conqueror's Haki. Now, if you're new here, or you've been hiding under a rock in the Calm Belt, Conqueror's Haki is an insanely cool ability where characters can literally make their enemies pass out just by glaring at them. But there's so much more to it than that, with advanced applications that we see as the story progresses. From the first time we saw it with Shanks making a giant Sea King pee itself by just looking at it, to Luffy infusing his attacks with it to hit his opponents without touching them. Conqueror's Haki has evolved in some pretty wild ways, and these 5 variations will absolutely blow your mind. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's start with the basics. Conqueror's Haki, or Haushoku Haki, is the rarest form of Haki, and can only be wielded by those with the qualities of a king. Those born with this power are known as supreme rulers of the One Piece world, and there are currently less than 20 confirmed users as of the current storyline. What's more, is only 1 in a million people gain the ability, and they actually have to be born with it, so it's not something you can just learn just by trying. You either have it, or you don't. There even seems to be a lineage factor to this power, as Ace gained the ability from his father Gol D. Roger, Luffy gained it from either his father Dragon or grandfather Garp, and Yamato gained it from Kaido. Before the time skip, Conqueror's Haki was shown as an invisible force that looked more like a form of observation Haki that we as the audience couldn't see. But after the time skip, it manifested itself as black and red lightning and a unique sound that always captivates us as the audience when it's used. Starting off with the first variation of Conqueror's Haki, we have Intimidation. Basic Conqueror's Haki is pure domination, as it allows the user to exert their willpower in order to override the will of others, basically making them submit or rethink their life choices by temporarily dominating their psyche. It's like the ultimate intimidation flex to determine whose willpower is stronger. We've seen this variation used mostly on animals throughout the series by several characters. The first time we get a taste of this power is with Shanks, and oh boy does he make an entrance. Shanks casually strolls into the story, saves Luffy from a Sea King with just a stare, and leaves us all wondering what kind of aura does this guy have. That scene was our first clue that One Piece wasn't just about having a powerful devil fruit, although that's still a big part of it. It introduced us to the concept of power through sheer presence. We've seen Luffy unknowingly use this technique plenty of times before the time skip as well. The first time was when he intimidated Duval's bull Motobaro with just a single glance, which left everyone around confused. He displayed it again on Amazon Lily against Boa Hancock's sisters, when he yelled at them to prevent the petrified women from being destroyed as his Haki commanded them to do so. It was this moment when it was realized that Luffy had the qualities of a king. In a more advanced form, this skill of domination can be taken to the next level, as we've seen demonstrated by Shanks. The Master of Haki was able to send his Conqueror's Haki a minimum of hundreds of kilometers away to intimidate Admiral Ryokugyu into submission. Like, are you serious? It's like he has a Wi-Fi router with unlimited range, and his signal is pure terror. With just his Haki, Shanks was able to paralyze the Admiral with pain and fear, and was able to stop the power of his Devil Fruit by forcing him to lose control, transforming him back into his normal form. He was even seemingly able to communicate with Green Bull through his Haki, telling him to stand down. I don't know about you guys, but that is what I call pure domination. The next variation of Conqueror's Haki is Incapacitation, which is pretty much the ability to knock someone unconscious. By overpowering someone's will to a greater degree, a user of Conqueror's Haki can knock out those around them with just a glare. Even those who barely have enough willpower are brought down to their knees as they are forced to concentrate just to remain conscious. That's why a person has to have their own incredible will and spirit in order to even stand a chance against a Conqueror's Haki user. Even Oda himself stated that anyone who is knocked out by Conqueror's Haki is essentially not worth fighting the user directly, as their will is entirely too weak. Remember when Shanks walked onto Whitebeard's ship and half the crew dropped like flies? That showed us that there are levels to Conqueror's Haki and its ability to knock people out, as some can withstand it while others cannot. Now, we have to mention, that the greater the strength of a Conqueror's user, the more people they can knock out. Before the time skip, we saw Luffy unknowingly knock out hundreds of Marines when he attempted to save Ace during the Battle of Marineford. But after the time skip, he was able to effortlessly knock out 50,000 Fishman pirates without moving a muscle. However, someone much more powerful like Shanks or Rayleigh can knock out over 100,000 people if necessary. And with the proper training, the effects of this haki can be controlled in a crowded area, being capable of choosing which targets to knock out instead of affecting everyone, like we saw when we first got introduced to Rayleigh during the Sabaody arc in the auction room. We even see Luffy able to use this ability while unconscious, like when he knocked out Kaido's men after receiving his first defeat from the King of Beasts. Talk about having an unwavering will. The third variation of this power is known as pressure, and this is where we start to separate the boys from the men. If used with a greater degree of power, Conqueror's Haki is capable of damaging or destroying structures around the user. We first saw this when Shanks boarded Whitebeard's ship, where his Conqueror's Haki was so great that not only did he knock out some of his crew, but it also damaged the wooden structure of the Moby Dick, which had withstood the harsh conditions of the New World for decades. But the real pressure comes from when two users of Conqueror's Haki clash with each other. When both users meet, they generate the infamous black and red lightning that generates shock waves, causing damage to the environment and incapacitates those around who aren't strong enough to withstand the pressure. And there are truly levels to the damage done based on the strength of the users, from the unforgettable clash between Luffy and Doflamingo that created shock waves damaging the surrounding area, to Big Mom and Kaido exerting enough force to destroy the island of Onigashima. The limits of Conqueror's Haki knows no bounds. Additionally, clashes between exceptionally powerful users of Conqueror's Haki can create huge rifts in the sky, which is a feat better known as splitting the heavens. So far, there have only been 4 instances of this happening: Whitebeard versus Shanks, Kaido versus Big Mom, Roger versus Whitebeard, and most recently, Luffy versus Kaido. After unlocking the power of Gear 5, we saw Luffy accomplish this feat by himself, truly placing himself among the strongest of Conquerors. And before we move on to the 2 advanced applications of Conqueror's Haki, you too can place yourself among the best by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. Now, the first advanced application and 4th variation of Conqueror's Haki is Infusion. This is where Conqueror's Haki gets a power-up. Imagine being so powerful that you can infuse your very will into your attacks, making them devastatingly more potent. It's like adding hot sauce to an already spicy dish. It's just overkill, but in a good way. That's right, just like Armament Haki, a true Conqueror's Haki wielder can infuse themselves and their weapons with their kingly will. In doing so, it allows them to physically attack their enemies with not only their armament, but their king-like will, greatly increasing the power of their attacks. After infusing themselves with this power, the Haki is emitted from the part it is focused at in the form of the black and red lightning. It is an absolutely busted power, and there's a reason few people have mastered it, because this technique is insanely difficult to control. Even after unlocking it, Luffy still took another L because he wasn't as efficient as Kaido in infusing his attacks with Conqueror's Haki. But when this advanced form of Conqueror's Haki is combined with the advanced form of Armament Haki that allows the user to attack someone from the inside out without physically touching them, you get an insane attack with enough destructive power to level a city. With this combination, Luffy was able to stand evenly matched against Kaido, as his initial attacks were too shallow to damage him, but after mastering this ability, Luffy was able to deal a great amount of damage to the strongest creature in the world. When Luffy gave Kaido the uppercut of a lifetime without touching him, we all knew he was just different. But even this variant may have its own sub-variant, because it's heavily implied that Zoro's legendary technique, Ashura, is a variation of Haki infusion according to Kaido. Using this fear-inducing power, Zoro seems to manifest multiple limbs and swords to defeat his opponent. Now, it may be that he's simply projecting his Haki into his blades and body so that he can move at supersonic speeds. But even then, it's clear that Zoro can do something with his kingly will that nobody else can. We've also seen Monkey D. Garp use an attack known as Galaxy Impact, in which he infuses his fist with enough Conqueror's Haki to send shockwaves large enough to destroy an entire city from the sky. It's been stated by Kaido that this advanced form of Haki is necessary to become a Yonko, and that Haki transcends all in the world of One Piece, although this logic clearly doesn't apply to Buggy, but he may continue to surprise with a Conqueror's Haki reveal later in the final saga. And for the final variation, we have an ability that is exclusive to the Haki god himself, Shanks, known as Observation Killing. This technique is definitely Shanks' ultimate flex, nullifying his opponent's Observation Haki. This ability, revealed in the special, Volume 4 Billion, shows that Shanks can prevent others from seeing the future using his own willpower, while still being able to use his own future sight. Imagine playing a game where your opponent can see your every move, and then suddenly they can't. It's like unplugging their controller mid-game. Not cool, but definitely effective. Shanks is like the ultimate game master, bending the rules of the One Piece universe as he sees fit. We haven't seen this technique used in the series yet, but you know it will be a spectacle once animated. And that's it for the 5 variations of Conqueror's Haki. As the One Piece story continues, the evolution of Conqueror's Haki remains one of the most exciting aspects to watch. With the series nearing its climax, we're bound to see even more insane applications of this power. One thing's for sure, Conqueror's Haki will play a crucial role in the battles to come, especially with the looming threat of the world government, with Imo and the Gorosei, along with the threat of the Holy Knights, and the mysteries surrounding the One Piece itself. And with the introduction of Luffy's Gear 5, I can only imagine what juicy upgrades to Conqueror's Haki Oda-sensei has in store for us. But I don't think he'll reveal it until you subscribe to the channel. So if you enjoyed this video and want me to make more One Piece content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to check out our exclusive AJ Anime merch. You can get 50% off your order with the code AJAnime50. So make sure to grab some merch and let us know. Your support is appreciated and needed to keep this channel growing and thriving. So we'd like to say thank you all. See you in the next one.